Corelli, FaZe snapped their losing streak against NRG. They snapped their losing streak against G2, and now they find themselves with an extra life in the grand finals. Is this finally the time for FaZe?
They've started the season. They wrote that first chapter in the North America Open in Fall Regional 1 with the first place finish. They have an opportunity here to close the chapter on the regular season here in North America with a win over G2. But of course, we know what G2 is. We've seen them here in this split in particular, of course, in the winter as well. This is going to be a very much a close series as we got yesterday, James.
And already first killer opening up the scoring 5 seconds in. A nice rollback to him. And you see JKnaps in a tough situation. AJ even getting a light bump on JKnaps.
Yeah, he actually got up and over JKnaps. JKnaps, I think, jumped into him, and that was what prevented him from getting the shot. And a fantastic start for FaZe. This is something that they needed, especially in their first game yesterday, where it felt like G2 had full control right off the rip. FaZe, though, I think it's a bit of a different beast here today, definitely finding peak form. See if they can hold on to it here in this series.
And on that play, first killer getting the flip reset. He knew if he shot that ball right away, JKnaps would have been able to get the save. FaZe again, lobbing one towards net. First killer, the tip, backward bounce. AJ's shot will be high. First killer will keep this ball tipped up in front of net. Another shot opportunity. It's a light bouncer, and Atomic will sweep that off the line.
And FaZe are very happy with putting more and more shots on target, above the net, wide of the net, just as long as it makes it scary for G2. Now G2 on the counterattack trying to find something. Chicago knew he'd go straight into AJ on that one, and now first killer, a bit of boost. But with 2 defenders there from G2, they'll shut him down and try and get out. Still AJ making it tough for G2. As you can see, FaZe, they're getting great touches on this ball. And again, as we just mentioned, making it tough for G2. Now Atomic downfield, he's there again, and G2 able to tie it up.
FaZe went all out on that swarm, Corelli. You can see him all low on boost, trying to get back. Typical getting back as quickly as he could, but G2 spreading out, recognizing that overcommit from FaZe, and we are all tied up. Strong start, though, from FaZe, but that just goes to show you how quickly G2 can turn it on you.
And on that goal, I mean, that was something that Atomic did in the last series so much. Now JKnaps going to get one off the kickoff. We're not even going to be able to talk about it. Another goal goes in for G2, and they're up by 1.
And typical caught out in no man's land, deciding to stop and jump for it. But Chicago and JKnaps, they were both too fast on the play. And G2, despite what seemed like a slower start, have now scored back-to-back goals, prying the lead away from FaZe.
Maybe not for long. AJ's going to slip it under.
You saw the defender creeping on net. On the post, Atomic right there. But AJ takes advantage of that bump from Chicago, or on Chicago.
What a smart shot from AJ, just to put that one on the ground, because that's really the hardest part for anyone on the back wall or above the net to get to. That's a very easy save to mess up, especially if you want to use your flip. And Atomic, he was in such a tough spot, that near post shot. He was really just playing for one in the midsection of the net. Or at least that's where the way he was positioned. And AJ knew that he could slip it under there. That's a great response from FaZe.
Another low shot, but this time it doesn't beat Atomic. And we've seen both goals now from FaZe. Corelli having a bump be a factor in the play both times, clearing that path for the shot. And now Chicago, backboard bounce.
Up.
Atomic light hit, crossbar down. G2 back in the lead.
Just getting over that one is Atomic. What a flip reset from JKnaps. And quickly, you can see how fast Chicago's up for that one, and Atomic there to clean it up. And that play just happened so quick. FaZe, the second they didn't get to the first man there on the ball, and JKnaps, it was over. G2, they knew exactly what was happening.
In the last match, G2 didn't find a way to score more than 2 goals in a single game against FaZe, and now 3 goals. We're not even halfway through. This one, a high-scoring affair, almost another goal, but that time Atomic able to block it.
G2 definitely had more success locking down FaZe in the previous matchup yesterday. Today, though, you're seeing the pace of play. FaZe all over G2. That one just wide from Sipical. Still FaZe trying to hold on to possession. First killer wants to take it himself. He's a bit high, dropping it down. And still G2 able to get those touches, even inside their own box, to turn away FaZe.
Backboard pass. JKnaps this time blocking it out. Light shot. Chicago making the save, and moments before, we also saw Chicago bodying off the attacker from FaZe. G2 trying to deal with this immense pressure from FaZe. Now, shot opportunity, light shot, saved from AJ. Now, FaZe find themselves battling on the goal line. A light tip from First Killer will send this to the FaZe corner. Typical taking over.
It's 14 shots to 5. FaZe with now 15, as they have just peppered the G2 side. Still down by 1 here, as maybe JNaps and Atomic both go. JNaps, oh, he lands on top of it.
Oh.
Just how you draw it up.
No, if you're drawing up plays like this, you might be illiterate. I don't know. I don't understand how JNaps was able to make that work.
I don't know either. I have no idea. It worked out perfectly because honestly, it looked like a mistake at that point. 2 players went for the same ball, and it was a tough angle to hit. And I don't think FaZe even expected that. Now JNaps again. Able to poke it away. Can he put it away himself? Near post try.
And I guess, Curl, you don't really need to know how to write in anything other than pictures when you're drawing it up. So, I guess it works out perfectly.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need to be literate.
It's all subjective. That's what art is, right?
And if that play was certainly a work of modern art. First Killer, high lob. Typical light touch. First Killer keeping this ball in play. It's above Typical.
Oh my goodness.
And I don't know what we're witnessing, but it's working for FaZe and G2.
There's a little bit of mind game happening here. I think Typical struggled to get a hold of this one, but it might have
gone for the bump.
AJ instead comes through with the shot, and I think G2 didn't really know how to react with Typical coming at them. It was a very tough situation for the defenders.
I think what Typical was doing was trying to get Airborne to block off the path for JNaps, to make sure JNaps couldn't even jump for that ball.
Yeah, and it worked out nicely because all the defenders, they didn't want to challenge. They saw what was happening.
And FaZe, despite getting bit early with the overcommits, not afraid to turn and make touches like that. A crazy touch from First Killer to set that up. Now First Killer, another touch on the ball. AJ will get Airborne. Trying to keep this ball locked down. First Killer bumping JNaps. Chicago down the sideline. JNaps with a demo. He's hunting First Killer as well. First Killer being chased by Chicago. Bumped off the ball. There's a 50. AJ with a pop.
Dangerous there from FaZe as that one pinches over the G2 net. Now JNaps, that's a quick shot on target, and First Killer will turn it away. G2 trying to put the dagger in game 1 here. It goes across the FaZe side. FaZe scrambling to get it out, but they've done well here from Typical. And he looks for a dunk. 10 seconds left, FaZe. They've got to go now here in game 1.
Atomic booming it downfield. We'll give a chance for Typical to keep it airborne, but Chicago knocking it right back down despite the fast start for FaZe, slow start for G2. G2 picking up the pace, catching FaZe Clan out on a counterattack, and ultimately getting the win. FaZe Clan, Corelli, I thought they started strong, but started to let off the gas.
Well, and I don't even think it was really that slow of a start from G2. I think FaZe was just playing out of their minds there for the first minute or so, and I think things started to even out because both teams, as you said, really picked up the pace, and we're going at a crazy speed here. So many creative shots, so many creative plays, whether they drew it up or not. You see the JNaps landing on top of that one. That's fine. For G2, I think that this was a great game to kind of get adjusted to the FaZe pace of play, because we saw, and you could see it in the stats, 19 shots from FaZe here in game 1, but really 3 goals to only show for it. I mean, 3 goals normally is really good, but when you have that many chances, you feel like FaZe should have put more, at least on target, to score more goals.
Certainly, and you said it, 3 goals, not bad, especially in an RLCS matchup. Generally, that scoreline can get you the win. Like I said, G2 only managed to score at most 2 goals in their last 7-game series against FaZe. So G2 finding their offense, finding ways to get past FaZe in ways that they weren't able to before. And it's a long road ahead for G2. Not only are they going to have to take down FaZe Clan in this best of 7, they'll have to do it again, unless FaZe can turn it up and end the series right here and right now, and also end the spring split in terms of the regionals.
Yeah, final game of the regular season here in North America, or possibly final series. We might get one more. G2, they would be the team to do it with the way they've been playing so far in the spring split, looking to sweep the split and win every single one. The FaZe certainly is a worthy contender so far. Already have taken a series off of G2 earlier in the bracket. And they have looked even better here today, at least through game one. I think the first series we saw yesterday, James, it was a little shaky from FaZe. Big mistakes, big blunders. Right now in game one and even in this first minute of game two, very much in control.
So it seems. See the pass coming out. JNAP's barely keeping that away, but despite being in control, we've seen how quickly G2 can get the ball on the other side of the field and take a shot on target. Chicago speed flipping to it. Low shot. AJ blocking out that portion of the net. We see JNAP's take out Typical, but first killer on the job. First pop broken up by Atomic. Now kicking off the sidewall. Chicago light lob over to Atomic. Atomic back to Chicago. Chicago! What hits the elbow? It's going out, and AJ left it back into FaZe's net.
Oh my goodness. What a pass from Atomic though to Chicago, and then coming off the elbow, as you said, AJ, I mean, he's just trying to react. What can he do? Didn't expect to bounce like that, but the setup from G2 was just so beautiful. It's so many times you've seen Atomic be point man and setting up his teammates, dishing it off, whether it's off the ceiling, back passing, or even just popping it up there back towards Chicago. Really a big playmaker here for G2, and it's paid off in another goal.
It's where big brains and brawny mechanics meet. That's Atomic. Typical hitting it off to the corner. AJ delaying. Musty flick towards net. Blocked by JNAPS. The tap from First Killer. First Killer having to bail out. Zero boost. Typical. First touch will set up the air dribble 50 attempt, which pops high in front of G2's net. First Killer flip reset potentially. Going for the bump on Atomic. But Atomic having none of it.
Still tense here for FaZe. They've had a couple tries here. That one comes across the box. G2 able to get out space here. And now First Killer relied on for FaZe to get out, and still look at the space given to G2. Atomic was pre-jumping.
But it was a low pass as well. So that play didn't work out, but still G2 on the hunt. And it's JNAPS, the hunter from the bushes, sniping out another goal for G2.
I feel like in the last two splits, JNAPS has gotten twice as good. Like, the way he's been playing, these double taps off the back wall, the clutch, the ice that he's had is insane.
That is the true art. seeing him fly through the air so gracefully, utilizing air roll so beautifully, but as I say it, First Killer gonna get him a scrappy goal here. Atomic trying to touch it out. Ended up setting up First Killer for that shot.
Oh, Chicago had full trust in that challenge from Atomic. And of course, JNAPS, there was no angle for him to really get that one out of the net. But great touch there from First Killer. Again, that's really been the MO here for FaZe, is to keep it as awkward as possible on the G2 side. And you're seeing there from AJ getting a crazy flip reset as he popped it up into the sky, because we know how good the G2 defense has been. That's what we've been talking about all this regional, even the previous one. And you do have to be creative. You have to come up with something different if you want to break down G2.
And we saw a bit of that different gameplay at the start of game one, but game two, FaZe playing a lot more defense than I think they expected. And there's a demo from Atomic on the back check. Now Chicago with the 50 in FaZe's corner. Typical out of boost. AJ will have to clear downfield, does so. But Atomic is going to back pass. Not the best pass again. Now in front of net. JNAPS slowing things down. Looked like he might have gotten faked there for a moment, but was able to recover.
Yeah, that was actually a great challenge there by AJ. Didn't want to actually get too much contact. Now look at this pass to Typical from AJ. My goodness, in the midfield, dropping it off, and we're tied up.
Oh, that was a nice play from AJ. You see him streaking back. I don't think they saw him at all. I don't think that Chicago knew AJ was even there. Getting that drop down pass to Typical. That is the type of hustle it's going to take to beat G2 when they're playing this well.
It doesn't get any more perfect than that. A pass like that straight in the face of Typical with an open net in front of him. That's being scored every single time, and perfect timing here from FaZe. As they tied things up, we've got a minute left on the clock.
Atomic, again, so aggressive on the positioning, trying to trust his teammates to put the ball right where it needs to be. Atomic, first touch, air dribble. There's a pinch out. high up for Chicago. Chicago, double tap, potentially no. It was too far away. AJ trying to bust that ball out of the half, but FaZe struggling to do so. Chicago again attacking the backboard. FaZe using up tons of boost. Finally, first killer able to air dribble it out.
Oh my. There's almost 5 players in the corner there on the G2 side. Everyone gets situated though. And AJ, can he be the hero here in game 2? Looking for a second touch. It doesn't come through, and a big clear from Chicago.
Final moments. First killer getting dunked by Atomic. It's going to pop up. Chance for JNaps to keep it in play, and we've got overtime. No chances wanting to be taken there. And this has been a neck-and-neck game. A chance for FaZe to tie up the series at 1 apiece.
Shots have dramatically dropped off for FaZe. Still 7 to their name here. It's not a bad outing for them, but through 5 minutes in this game versus the last, they were at 19. G2 certainly doing a better job on defense, denying just the shot before it even comes. Now Chicago's, he's got to go here. Dishes one up to JNaps as he doesn't get the touch. AJ had a tough read, but made it, and FaZe looking to get out.
Atomic high challenge, and that somehow skips towards G2's net. Chicago up. Hard bounce off the corner. AJ didn't connect. That leaves space for first killer, who's trying to power this through. Whoa. It's ricocheting in and out and all over. AJ not able to take the shot. Atomic jumps by it. Chicago has to come off the backboard to make that save, and will pop it over Sipical. AJ right back down to the G2 corner. A bump on the backboard. Infield pass, but first killer was too close.
That was a great setup from FaZe again. Just misexecuted. Now it's just straight at the net, so direct from Sipical. G2 all over it, and JNaps to clear it down the sideline.
First killer. Flip reset pass to Sipical. Sipical was very close in the infield. Perhaps a little bit too close. Is bouncing down in a dangerous spot. Chicago will have to leave it. Infield pass, first killer. Has a bounce off the ceiling. AJ coming in, pinching past one, out of boost. What can he do with it? Oh, nothing. Chicago blasting it downfield. Sipical trying to control it. There's a challenge from JNaps.
I think FaZe might be one of the few teams that hit their mechanics so well that they're hitting it over their teammates when they try and pass it across the net. They hit the flip reset so hard. I don't think any team has that type of issue because the setups have been so good. They're so mechanically great. And right now, they got to make a tough save. AJ's not going to get there, and Atomic going to put it away in overtime.
And Chicago off a strong pinch, recovering quickly, and you see first killer and AJ both jumping for the same ball. And that's going to be all she wrote for FaZe in game 2. G2 winning it in overtime. And now ahead in the series 2-0. G2 again scoring more than 2. And like I've said multiple times, Curly, last series, G2 was struggling. They were able to shut down FaZe's offense at times. Now they're not only finding the scoring, but still bringing quality defensive stops. And like you had pointed out with FaZe, they've had some really good setups, but the positioning was not there. So they were in the right spot in general, but you know, like you said, a ball, you know, 2 car links off of where you're predicting it. That's the difference between making the play and not. And we did see that. The great flip reset pass that was right to the middle, Sipical, just too close. And if he's a little bit away, he's taking that shot and he's probably scoring.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely believe that for FaZe. It didn't happen. But I think for G2 in particular, this game was a little bit closer to, I think, what G2 wants to play, or how G2 wants to play, rather, against FaZe, especially what we saw from yesterday. It was a little bit more controlled. I think the pace of play went down just a little bit to a little bit more of a comfortable zone for G2. They were able to use Atomic as that point man downfield. They were able to use him as the outlet pass. You had JNaps having a lot of space off the backboard, and Chicago, who filled in the gaps across the board at the top of the leaderboard there. For G2, that was a much more, I think, comfortable game. It was still very close, obviously in overtime, but a much more comfortable game where it wasn't as chaotic as I think where FaZe sort of thrives sometimes in that chaos.
And we saw a lot of chaos in game 1.
Yeah.
But still, G2 able to come out on top in that situation as well. We'll see if FaZe make any adjustments. Chicago battling in the corner and still battling against AJ. He doesn't want to let that ball out. Looks like he also got the midfield boost. And then the pinch off the ceiling, forcing first killer to get back.
Oh, my.
Oh, AJ. Got up quickly.
What a
and
shot.
that angle
Oh,
from first killer. I think it surprised everyone on G2.
I mean, we knew he was going for the shot, but that is a tough angle to hit, especially knowing JNAPS is there, coming full speed as well to the back post. Placement was perfect from first killer.
JNAPS was sitting in that. I think JNAPS is probably, trying to cover the shot as much as possible, but also wants to cut out that pass off the near post, back out to the middle. However, first killer just goes right for net and hits it, but an infield pass. JNAPS, he'll double tap to score, but he'll also double tap to set up his teammates.
Boy, what a touch here from JNAPS, and I think it came off AJ as well.
It did. You could tell the orange trail.
Yeah, little orange trail there, but still, that was all JNAPS. I mean, that was where he was going. If it didn't hit AJ, it was going to hit JNAPS back to Chicago, who has just been a rock there on offense. Always in the mix, ready to receive that pass.
Another long boom, typical. Will save it off to the side. Infield pass again, and Chicago there yet again. Typical. What is he supposed to do?
What is he supposed to do? When G2 is coming like this, and the passes that JNAPS has been laying off have just been perfect. Chicago, like you said, there again to receive it and tap it in for G2.
Chicago has that killer instinct.
Oh, no.
G2 having that killer instinct as we take another look at how this kickoff goal happened.
I was just shocked that JNAPS scored it. He was the one who went for kickoff, but he landed on some pads as well. And that little gap between the man going for the back corner boost and the man going for the ball lets JNAPS creep through. With the boost, he's able to put it on target.
Yeah, perfect. Small boost pad, and that one is going to hit off the post crossbar, come back down.
What is happening
for FaZe? They get it right back off kickoff.
Oh, it went right through Atomic, right over his head. And first killer, fortunate with those post bounce and crossbar to come right down in front of his face. Atomic's got to be kind of wondering how he didn't get that one. It went just over the top of his car.
Again, action off kickoff. JNAPS, center ball. Atomic will play this safe, now turning. Low boost situation. Wave dashing to get some extra pace. First killer, first touch was enough to bait in the defender. Now the block, Atomic will be back. Atomic not the best clear, giving AJ a window. AJ opting for the 50, but Chicago able to push that wide.
I think a lot of these balls that AJ popped up, he's looking for the 50. He knows his teammates will be there to clean up as well, or he'll just dunk it all the way through. And it also makes a G2 defender come up after him, and you want to pull those defenders out, as FaZe is doing. That's a good challenge by first. Typical. Can he get another touch? He can't, but he can't put it on target. AJ was there as well, but the defense holds strong, and FaZe can't find the target just yet.
Oh, and a nice play from JNAPS. Gets the demo on the wall, stays up in the play, and clears it out. Now! Whoa! I don't even know what happened. It looked maybe a team bump, maybe a pool hit. And now Chicago has to dodge the bumps, and he does so to make the stop.
Oh my goodness. Defensively, I think G2 actually pitched it off each other. That's how that one escaped. Back and forth here. We talked about pace of play, James. It is racing up and down the field on both sides right now.
It certainly is. In Chicago, escaping with his life. It was a situation where he has to dodge the bump attempt to keep that ball out, and he does so. Now two go for FaZe. Chicago goes for the boost steal.
Whoa.
Shot won't be on target, and AJ will try to flick this out of harm's way. Nice first touch from Chicago. Flip reset ball towards net. Chicago with the finesse play.
Yes, sir. Look at how much space and time uncontested here. First killer. That's a tough read. He had boost, but couldn't go in time. And once he got the flip reset, you knew exactly where he was going. FaZe can't do anything about it. And Chicago coming up big once again.
That was so clean, Corelli. That first touch, setting up the flip reset, waiting to flip at the perfect time. Clean from Chicago.
And a hat trick, 3 for 3. 3 goals, 3 shots. Chicago having another beastly game here. In the previous game, he was also the top of the leaderboard, I think about 700 points, contributing in all facets of the game right now. And G2, they are better for it. Really, everyone on G2 is performing at a different level. FaZe have got to figure it out.
That's a high bounce. Atomic supporting JNaps. Typical in the corner. Lovely touch around JNaps. Play slowed down. First killer up the wall, and JNaps will get it out. Chicago quickly taking the shot, but AJ right there to block it. Typical won't make contact, but it opens up the field for AJ. Air dribble. Pinch pass down, but again, Chicago able to control that pinch and get it out of the danger zone.
Another botched pass there from FaZe as well. That one was behind the man who was going to receive it. Here's first killer. Shirley beats the first man. Chicago jumps up and makes a great save, a great block to prevent FaZe. They've got 40 seconds left here in game 3 to make the difference.
Typical was so far out of rotation. Will get the partial block, but it's cleared right back downfield. Time running out for FaZe in game 3. Chicago, light tap. Typical not able to get that ball over to a teammate, but does flick that up to first killer. First killer and AJ
what a touch.
Getting tangled up, but it allowed for the shot by Typical, and with that shot not going in, that
was the
pretty
one.
much does it. That secures the game for G2. Corelli 3-0 now in favor of G2 coming from the lower bracket. We saw them get taken down by FaZe in a 7-game series. Is this the same G2 that we saw before?
Oh, well, it's clearly a little bit different, obviously, coming out now 3-0 against FaZe. And here's the worst part for FaZe. I don't think they're performing poorly at all. I think they're having a great series here again. As I said in the last one, there are some mistakes here and there, but you could say that about G2 as well. I think for FaZe, though, they've got to find a different level, and I think it does start with having a higher shot quality. There was, especially like that last attempt there by Typical, that one's just got to go in. It's got to find a corner, especially with the setup that they've had, and defensively as well. You cannot allow, like you just saw on that last replay, someone like Chicago up in the air like that, getting a flip reset. I mean, he was in the air for like 5 seconds, and uncontested for FaZe is just unacceptable here. You can't allow a team like G2 to have that much space.
And that wasn't the first time we saw the ball out, in G2's half, barely past half field, where G2 had so much time and so much runway to work with. And you definitely don't want to be doing that, especially with how on point these players from G2 have been. Now going into game 4, this is match point for G2 to force the bracket reset. FaZe have to figure something out. And Corelli, you mentioned it, defensively, that seems to be the side of the ball that FaZe really needs to figure something out on.
Well, it's been the criticism all season long from FaZe, and good teams like G2 will expose it. And again, that game was closer to, I think, where G2 wants to be as far as control and pace of play. It never felt like G2 was too scrambled. Of course, FaZe, they'll do that to anyone. But they were very quick to recover, get back in rotation, then put on some great counters. JNaps in particular certainly was the power for them. And now Atomic here, he'll get one downfield again, just being that point man and outlet for G2, this time able to put it away.
And G2 has been finding so much success with that exact play. Just have Atomic go up and cherry pick. Trust that Chicago, trust that JNaps will be able to find the outlet pass. And more often than not, Chicago has been shutting down those plays in 2v1 situations. He's outnumbered, outgunned, outboosted, but it doesn't matter. Chicago finding a way. And another block from Chicago. Wow. This guy, he's too good at net.
I mean, it's, again, what do you do when all the players on the other side are just playing at such a different level right now? They're peaking. And for FaZe, they're only down by 1 here. Plenty of time left. This is one that's got to be dangerous, and it was. JNaps still able to make the save, and G2 back the other way.
Pinch pass to the middle. Typical on the dribble, flicking it up to first killer, who takes the first touch on the wall, going for the block, trying to pinch that out towards the middle. AJ attempting to work some magic. Plum Chicago almost into the touch. First killer, the chip shot.
There it is.
And first killer has been doing this all series, Corelli, where it's an awkward rebound. There's people in net. It's got to be a perfect shot. and he hits it.
Yeah, he is that guy on FaZe. If you want the off angle, kind of out of nowhere type of shot and goal, first killer. I mean, he's already done it earlier, a couple games ago. He'll find that crazy angle and put it away. That was so smart from him. And him being in the third man position, I really like for FaZe sometimes because, again, just that utility of shot is just so important. Now AJ wants to lob one over Atomic, not going to find it.
You're 100% right, Crowley. The first killer, one of the best players at getting an impactful first touch.
Yep.
That is so dangerous to the team that's trying to keep that ball out of their own net.
He creates his own chances, even the half chance. He adds a couple percentage points onto it when he's behind the ball, and FaZe certainly better for it. So they tie things up here in a crucial match. And now first killer again has an opportunity. That one almost slipped by Chicago. Just got a piece, and now a booming clear. Typical can't get back, and G2 take the lead.
Atomic sniffs out every chance. That one, and that play, that has to be heartbreaking. You saw it skip off of Chicago. That picked up the pace of the ball and allowed for a booming shot. And it bounces perfectly in front of Atomic's car. You cannot plan that.
It's an improviser's game, as the very smart Achieves always points out, and it certainly is. G2 doing the best of what they're given. And just past halftime here in Game 4. G2 wanting to close out a dominating first series. AJ might have something to say about it. Oh, AJ goes all the way over Chicago. Solo play, and we're tied up.
It was like watching the Globetrotters for a moment. AJ against the entire team, threatening the flip reset, catching it, and getting a flick top corner to tie it up. AJ, huge play. And now FaZe are right back in it.
Here it comes again. Oh, not the best first touch. Tough one to keep going here. Does get the dunk. Some left there on the table, though, for AJ as that one comes across. Typical has an opportunity here. Chicago denies. That one's going to get over AJ as G2 racing to go on counter.
AJ opting to pick up that corner boost. And now Typical trying to clear it out. Nice challenge from Typical. And JNAP's booming it right back. Chicago doesn't make contact, but it messes up AJ. AJ awkward on the wall. Trying to get this out to first killer, who will punch it to the side. Chicago up against first killer in the corner. JNAP's with the support. Chicago off the wall. Double tap. No, he doesn't have the boost. It is a nice pass, but Typical able to take the space. First killer looked like dove for a bump or a demo and didn't connect.
Sip didn't have boost either once he got to the ground. Very tough for him to make something happen from that position, even with the bump. Just no momentum now. First killer, can he drop it down? He did, but Atomic there to clean up. JNAPS takes out AJ. So only 2 here for FaZe now. First killer can't get after it, but G2 double commit. JNAPS does a good job to slow things down. The first killer, dangerous position, little bit of boost, looking for 2. It goes over 1. Typical to clean up. FaZe into the lead.
And that's the first killer effect, the first touch around the defender. You see Chicago having to stay grounded for so long. First killer almost finishing the job himself, but did enough for that rebound opportunity. FaZe Clan back in the lead in what seems like a very long time, Corelli, since that's been the case.
Yeah. Feels like they've always been playing from behind. And G2 kind of make it feel that way as well. Here comes JNAPS, a strike towards the net, tied up again.
And that didn't take long. G2 answer right back. Another double commit on the goal line by FaZe.
The cleanup crew from G2 has just been stellar. Just making the most of balls that pop out on the FaZe side. It's not just against FaZe. They've done that all season long here. But here in this series, Chicago and JNAPS as well, just been there every single time.
And that pinch will be high. Typical. Trying to go for a 50. Bailed out at the last moment. Typical getting full boost. Will now turn on it. The lob stopped by Atomic. AJ, light first touch. Perhaps trying to take that into an air dribble. Couldn't keep the momentum behind it. Atomic faking out the hit on the wall. Going for backboard. Gets the demo on first killer. JNAPS down to the middle. Chicago too far out of the play. Perhaps a counterattack chance. First killer flip reset pass, but that's stopped by Chicago, who goes for a bump, but Typical dodges it. trying to keep the play alive. First killer will keep it up. AJ's shot not going to come. Overtime with FaZe's first life on the line.
And G2, they'll get the first advantage here off the kickoff. That one comes out to JNaps. A very dangerous ball, but typical all over it. As FaZe, they put up now 16 shots to the 7 of G2 in this game. Again, out shooting them by a wide margin. And still, G2 just been able to convert at a higher percentage as they almost have another. JNaps will be taken out. Maybe a counter here. Can AJ put this one on target? It's a bit high and wide. As first killer passes it across. Typical was there, but on low boost, can't receive. And G2 with a big clear.
You see Chicago hunting down Typical, but wasn't able to get that demo. There's a 50. JNaps to Chicago. Chicago high off the backboard. First killer with the tip up field. Typical being chased by Chicago. Chicago got a touch. JNaps with a defensive double tap off his own corner. And now the second effort. Pass up field. Lib reset from first killer. Catching it back down. No, doesn't catch it on the dribble. That'll be a little bit of space for G2, but you see Atomic struggling with no boost. Can't even find small pads. Now the pass across. AJ blocked by Atomic. Chicago also jumping for it. G2 starting to panic, but that pass too far out of Typical's reach. AJ jumps as well. Typical misses. Atomic, the shot blocked by first killer. Rebound at JNaps.
Oh my goodness.
The net, and that doesn't find its mark.
And players getting bumped out by FaZe. AJ all alone here, trying to go down the sideline. G2, though, that was their chance to take it. FaZe hanging on by a thread there as a couple blunders come out, but still, we're tied up, still sitting in overtime. And FaZe, maybe a second chance. Atomic, tough read. He does get a piece of it. And now Typical trying to make the play himself. FaZe waiting outside of the box to see what G2 gives them. AJ, tough ball to get back to. Pass is there, but Chicago cuts it out. First killer still trying to keep the attack on. G2 slowing things down, and it'll fizzle out for FaZe.
But there's a double commit from FaZe. Atomic looking for the center. Chicago high up to Atomic. Atomic going for the bump on first killer. Nice pop there from JNaps. Will stay on the play. Typical clearing it out. Second effort on the ball. Shut down by Chicago. First killer to the corner. Gets the demo. JNaps, tough spot.
Oh, great pass.
But the pass, it connects. The shot does not.
That was the one for AJ. So many of his shots have gone high. That was a beautiful pass. And yet another chance spoiled. Both sides, though, they've had this. They've had an opportunity to put this game away. And now JNaps and G2 trying to find a way out from their own side. It will be Chicago. Very slowly will meander towards the midfield line. Atomic with no boost still wants to look threatening. And now 3 minutes have passed in overtime. FaZe looking for more space on the G2 side, but JNaps will slow him down.
JNaps, solid play. The pinch, it's a race now. Chicago waiting on the other side of the net, and that shot won't find its mark. A good idea, but now AJ towards net. Everyone's out. But somehow it's blocked. It looked like the shot might have been wide, but you saw the opening.
Just wide, but it could have still been dangerous. Now Atomic with the demo. My goodness, that was a shot from JNaps. He squeaked it through. G2 gonna sweep them in their first series.
Unbelievable ending. JNaps in his... He's just deep in FaZe's corner, and he's in his element. JNaps, we saw him hit these crazy double taps, whether it's a pass or a shot. Like you said, I don't know how he's gotten this darn good. We've seen him play RLCS for a very long time, and he just keeps getting better and better.
It makes no sense. Why is he so good? He should be washed up. He should be retired, and yet here he is performing the highest I think he's ever performed. And G2, you look at the scoreline. Look at Chicago almost putting up 900 points, and G2 a 4-0 sweep over FaZe. And James, we were talking about the leads for FaZe. They only had 2 leads in this series. They had a very short-lived series lead here in Game 4, but they also had that first goal. The only other lead was the first goal of the series in Game 1. That was the only 2 times that FaZe led in this series at all.
So what you're telling me, Corelli, is that FaZe spent some time this series playing from behind.
Yeah.
And, you know, frankly, I'm not surprised to hear that. That seemed like it was the case pretty much like you said from the get-go. G2, an unbelievable first series. FaZe, they're not out. It's a bracket reset. But with G2 playing as well as they are, sweeping FaZe in this first series, you wonder what Series 2 has in store. And, you know, Corelli, we're going to find out, but it's going to have to wait until after the break.
In the future, we'll travel to incredible places with the help of magical technology. But what about today? I want my magical future now. I have places to go. Rocks to climb. Sights to see. And flights to catch. I can't wait for what tomorrow will bring. But in the meantime, let's enjoy the ride.
This might not be your car, and this might not be your engine. Maybe this isn't your morning routine, and maybe these aren't your coworkers. Perhaps these aren't your standard driving conditions. Far from it. But this is your oil, which means you're one of us, doesn't it? For serious engines, on and off the track, upgrade to Mobil 1.
The World Championship is where the greats become legendary.
She found a way into my heart. Oh, oh, she don't make up, no, she make art. And I need a way to treat it, cause I keep getting high off of her. Off of her. I
Welcome back to the Rocket League Championship Series presented by Verizon. We're well into our grand finals of the Nissan Classic, and we're getting closer to crowning a champion. I'm Leaf. Gibbs is here. Subi and Achieves joining again to talk about what just happened, because, man, if anybody picking FaZe out there must feel pretty silly.
Oh, my
what
goodness.
just happened.
Hey, you know, FaZe put up 2.5 goals per game. Let's not talk about their defense or their double commits or anything on that side of the field, but the offense was clicking at times. The problem was every time FaZe would get a goal, G2 had an answer right back immediately after, and everyone on G2's clicking, putting up nearly 4 goals per game in this 4-game sweep. G2 making a statement right now.
Oh, dang it, Gibbs. You took off the sunglasses. It's not a feel-good weekend anymore.
No more
It's
good
a
vibes.
feel-bad weekend. No good vibes.
Oh, that last goal. Oh, that hurts.
I mean,
That hurts.
it's insane how much offense FaZe had in that game and how little G2 cared. It was like, cool, yeah, keep doing that. We're just going to break out of our own half, and we're going to show you that JNaps is like a fine cheddar cheese. He just gets better with age. I don't understand how he is as good as he is right now and how long he's been in the scene. It's incredible.
Yeah. You said fine. I thought you said flying cheddar cheese, and that just was
That'd
a
be cool
great
too.
image. It's just a big block of cheese.
Heads
going
up.
through there. Well, we got our second part of the grand finals coming your way right now because it's a bracket reset, but now there's only one best of 7 in the way. We need to know, chat, if you guys have changed your tunes. Time for the Verizon fan vote one last time for the North American season. Hashtag G2 or hashtag FaZe.
Oh.
Is FaZe going to be able to turn this around, or is G2 crushing on through? Now, we see if the analysts have any changes of heart here. I am standing my ground. Subi, I believe you are as well, probably. All right, we're here together. We'll go down the line,
Salute. Okay.
because Achieves, you said that it would flip now, though. So far you are still correct.
Ooh.
Flipping.
Oh, and cheese.
Oh my goodness, it was me.
Ah.
It was me. No, it's okay. I think yes. Flip me, please.
He said,
this is
he's
all
wrong.
according to plan.
No, this was his plan,
I think they've got the time during the break here to be like, okay, we understand what the defense is giving us. They're gonna make some adjustments, and 4-1 seems a little bold considering how the first series went, but we
Hey,
do
it's
have
Rocket
to
League.
commit.
Wow.
Man.
Going all in, huh? Big brain plays from Achieves coming out. But how in the world are they going to 4-1 after they just got 4-0'd? Is
and
the
that's
big question.
the problem too, because FaZe, we've always talked about in these big time moments, they tend to collapse. Normally it's before the finals where they finish 3rd or 4th, and they'll have a bad series where it seems like nerves hit them. They get a lot of double commits and all that. And we saw it in that series. They did put up some goals though. And you know what, Leaf? I can't believe I'm doing this.
What's is he?
I gotta flip.
He's gonna do it.
I gotta flip. I gotta go G2.
Okay.
I thought FaZe would learn from their mistakes, but G2 just dismantled them. And FaZe looks nervous, and I'm worried for him. I'm flipping. I'm going G2.
Oh, my.
I actually now want FaZe Clan to win.
I know.
Wait, you can't
Just
flip
so I
now,
can be
Leaf?
the only one right both times.
Yeah. And more so that he's just
Then I'm wrong both
completely
times.
off
That's
the
fine.
mark.
Oh wait, no. You guys pick G2. You guys pick G2. My bad.
Yeah, we have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
say.
We're good. Okay, well, our grand final is ready. The final regional here, the Nissan Classic, FaZe and G2 kicking it off in the Verizon Skybox.
look at that.
Yeah, oh my
Gracious
God.
me.
Yeah, that is
That's no
They're
longer a
taking it.
coin flip.
They're taking it.
it's not a
I'm
coin
the
flip.
22%. That's fine by me.
they're taking it. Well, let's get to the Verizon Skybox because the players are waiting to give you guys a spectacle with the bracket reset. G2 strike fear into FaZe, who have just lost their second life in the grand finals. It's now down to the wire with only one best of 7 now separating us from a champion.
Corelli, what do you make of the flip-floppers on the deck?
I can't take them seriously, James. I'm glad you're here with me for this final series. This is going to be a spectacle, I think, because the Dust mentioned it, but there has never been a completed bracket reset between this series or this season or the last season in RLCSX, and it has never done it. And G2 trying to be the first, and they look to be the most commanding at the moment. As we'll see how they start off this series. FaZe, they've had some time to think about it, and if they go back to the way I think the way game 1 was, they'd have a much better chance. They don't want to let G2 get too comfortable. I think that's really where the series got out of hand. When G2 got comfortable and adapted, that's where FaZe really started to crumble.
And we'll see if FaZe can build something up. Like you said, crumbling under the pressure in those moments. Tons of double commits. Defensively, it was not the same performance that they had when they took G2 down earlier in the event. And that's a nice infield pass, but the shot right at AJ. JNAP's backward pass, another double commit, but Typical able to clear it out. Gets demoed. First killer, light touch to the side. Chicago jumping over first killer. The 50, Atomic, light bounce on the goal line. JNAP's will tuck it in. And my, oh my, the aggression from G2 and JNAPS in Chicago. Can it be stopped?
Yeah, I don't know. That was actually a great touch by first killer to keep that one. The momentum going out of the net, still hitting that post is very tough to do. And to get that one away and not just instantly put it into your own net was about as good as he was going to get there. And still G2 was all over them, or were all over them, as FaZe find themselves in the hole early.
Chicago racing to the ball. Launching it towards net. JNAPS! Flipping to the ball, getting the redirect.
He did it with the side of his car, too. This wasn't even the perfect touch. It was just off the side of his car. AJ was there to get the touch as well. Incredible read from JNAPS. He gets even better.
Pre-flip redirect from JNAPS. Now is when you start to worry. That shot going to be wide as well, or too high. Nice pass. AJ shot off the mark. FaZe Clan can't seem to catch a break.
What do you do if you're FaZe Clan? I mean, seriously, with the way that JNAPS has played, well, maybe they can get one. As that one goes wide, that one's picked up as well. And G2 somehow come out with it. But they have just been a different level. We've talked about it multiple times. It hasn't been the most pretty regional from G2, but so far here into the final, they have just looked like the better team against FaZe. And with those types of plays, I really don't know what to do if you're FaZe.
And Atomic dodging the bump, gets the 50, pinching it out wide. FaZe has had numbers in so many situations in this series and have not been able to capitalize on that numbers advantage.
And again, I do think it comes down to the quality of shot, because the setup's there. Here's another one, but Atomic turns it away. AJ, he's got to get back to this one. That touch a bit too heavy, but there's been a lot of great setups from FaZe. Again, don't think that it's been particularly poor from FaZe at all in the previous series. I know they got swept, but there's a lot of great gameplay coming out from them. They're just missing that last piece of the puzzle when it comes to their offense to kind of clutch up against this G2 defense.
And you wonder if that last piece of the puzzle fell in between the couch cushions or maybe down a vent. You know, it's FaZe. They've got to find it, and it doesn't seem like they're getting much closer, especially in this first game of the second series. They've had look after look, but haven't been able to close it out.
And it really is the way G2's playing right now. That's the difference. Defensively, offensively, it seems like everything's working. Everything's on the same page. And that's not to say that FaZe doesn't have that or don't have that, but rather, obviously, the conversion rates are much higher for G2 at the moment.
Atomic had no boost, but still boosting or rotating across FaZe's backboard, being an option for the redirect. Gets the stop down to the corner. JNAPS trying to stay behind the ball. AJ being patient. Lob upfield. JNAPS. The outlet. JNAPS getting demoed by Typical in the deep FaZe half. Chicago white boost. JNAPS helping out. Doesn't get the double tap, but it leaks out for Atomic. Atomic staying in the play. Trying to slow down FaZe.
Yeah, everyone backed off from G2. Final minute upon us. FaZe
great
need to find their first. here in game one, and it could come. AJ, does he have it? He does pass the Atomic on the near post, and FaZe have life.
And it was an impressive touch from Chicago, but then here you see the mix-up. Atomic in reverse. JNaps streaking across. I think if JNaps takes that hit, the ball's cleared out of harm's way.
Certainly into the corner there if JNaps were to hit it. He was the better man to take it, but under pressure, you know, this is what FaZe does. In the chaos, they thrive, and when a team starts to crumble defensively, FaZe, they sit circling and then they bite. And that was certainly a moment for AJ to come in and make a difference. And here they come again.
The drop down.
Drops it down, and a backflip from AJ. That's
Did
another
he backflip or did Atomic get a bump?
He backflipped there as he approached it. Atomic might have got a piece of him as well, but AJ certainly pulled off. I think he was going to get blocked. He didn't want to just get dunked downfield, I suppose. But still some time left here for FaZe. That's a great shot. It comes out to typical tough angle, puts it on target, tied up with 17 seconds to play.
In FaZe, the pressure was mounting. You could see it shot after shot. 2 go. Chicago with the block, but typical getting around the ball. And FaZe certainly feel like they earned that one.
And great work from FaZe, keeping the pressure on. Making G2 think about their defense a little bit more. And with 10 seconds left now, looking to steal this game one. It could be first killer. It's too high. Typical lets it go. AJ lost the ball. It's a foot race back the other way. And JNaps can't find the mark. First killer gets back in time.
Oh, that was a roller coaster of emotions right there. It seemed like FaZe was going to win it in the final seconds. And then JNaps, if he had enough boost, if he had even 20 boost, he's getting to that ball and he's scoring.
And for FaZe, that's not a great touch either. They are here on the rotation to clean up, but for FaZe, that was a huge blunder. They're lucky that one ended into overtime there. We're all reset. First 20 seconds come and gone in overtime. Atomic's not going to get their big clear for first killer, and a welcomed one here for FaZe.
Typical slowing down, getting a first touch. It pinches off the ceiling. Chicago booms it downfield. Atomic low boost. AJ against JNaps, it hits off the ceiling. Chicago's got to buy time. Doesn't do so, but Atomic gets back the rebound of first killer, and FaZe Clan finally get a game win in the grand finals.
What a battle here in the first match. We were talking up G2 so much, and FaZe with the comeback. They were down by 2, 3 straight. Had to take them to overtime as well. A testament to FaZe Clan's resolve here in game one.
Oh, that was quite the ending. I mean, even in regulation, quite the ending. But that last save from Atomic, it was heading to the corner. And you wonder if JNaps just lets that go to the corner. Yeah. If G2 could have gotten away with their life in that moment.
Look at these shots. 17 shots for FaZe to the 6 on G2. So many games where FaZe are just completely blowing G2 out of the water in the shooting department. Obviously, G2 definitely putting away more of those chances, but FaZe, they are just so good at generating shot after shot, even if they're half chances, and putting that pressure on the defense.
And it finally worked. They've been fighting for these leads so much against G2, who has seemed unstoppable. But finally, FaZe Clan finding that little window and making it work. And this might be the start of something new for FaZe. Sometimes you just got to get over that first hurdle before you're off to the races. And maybe that's FaZe in this series.
And again, we've talked about FaZe not putting away a lot of their chances, but I also think that's because of G2's defense. When you look at the high shooting games for FaZe, there's also a lot of saves on the G2 side as well. They have just been a brick wall in most of these cases, and so you can't criticize FaZe too much because it is, speaking to the G2 defense as well.
Atomic wall dashes, trying to pick up some pace. Typical will force JNaps to not make the best touch. Chicago pass off the sidewall. JNaps back down to Chicago, but now the sprint is on. Typical going for the block, but Atomic saw it coming.
I think that was actually a good play there from Typical. Atomic didn't have a lot of boost. The block was a safe play, especially with that ball just out of the head and nose of Typical. G2 mounting an attack here. That one's placed to the right side, but an easy save for AJ.
We've seen a lot of low boost plays from Atomic. Atomic, very aggressive positioning. G2 scoring some impressive goals as well. Think back to that JNAPS pre-flip. Does G2 have more of that, or will FaZe finally show some life?
And life they need between the last game and the last series. FaZe have led for exactly 4% of this entire series. This set. 1 minute. 1 minute and 18 seconds out of the 31 minutes we've played.
Oh. And the lead will go right to G2. You saw the panic, Corelli. Typical jumping up early. AJ, see ya.
Oh, my. And that's a painful one for FaZe because everyone had a decent look at that ball. And no one was able to at least just get in front of it to prevent the shot.
Do you think AJ thought that ball was going in? It looked like he was trying to get behind it, but he was in net.
He might have. It's tough to tell. I mean, especially with FaZe, with the way they throw bodies across the net of their goal, it's tough to say if it's a miscommunication or a misread half the time.
Tough break for FaZe. G2. They find themselves with an early lead. JNAPS slowing down the play, gets blocked hard by Typical. Chicago collecting on his own backboard. First touch. Stopped by First Killer. Typical slowing down the play. AJ right towards net. And now beat out First Killer, jump for that ball. What will Atomic do? Pitch pass to the middle. Chicago in a 2v1 situation. But AJ loses the flick.
Oh, man.
And that's going to kill the counterattack.
And that one seems like a botched play there from AJ. Had some time. I don't think he realized how much time he had. He kind of rushed the touch there in the midfield. But there was a chance there, as you were pointing out, James, a 2v1. But I think G2 also got back pretty quickly there. But at best, it was going to be a 2v2.
I mean, if AJ brings that right to net, Chicago, he's not going to hesitate. He goes for that upper corner. As we take another look, First Killer, you know he wanted to bounce that up, not back to the middle.
Wow. What a shot from Chicago. 65 miles an hour from that range. And he is 2 for 2 in this game. His shooting percentage has got to be crazy between these two series. He has been so accurate for G2 and so lethal, whether it's cleaning up or shots like that, just taking him on his own accord. And G2 now comfortably in the lead.
JNAPS, how much boost does JNAPS have? Are there any pads in the air? He kept going, and now Atomic. Flip reset. It's behind JNAPS. Chicago there. Has JNAPS in support, but Typical knocking it down to the side. First Killer booms it towards the G2 net. AJ gets a piece. Back to First Killer. Infield pass. Typical shot, not on target. Another great pass from FaZe that just doesn't
AJ
find
has
the
no
shot.
boost.
JNAPS threatening. Chicago didn't make contact, and FaZe get away without conceding another goal, but now finally putting it in. Typical. The solo play, unassisted from end to end. FaZe needed that to get back into it.
Great touches here from Typical, knowing that he could keep possession, popping that one up and buying himself some space in the sky. G2 just really couldn't react because when he beats the first man, G2 kind of expected that a tackle would happen there on the sideline, and Typical very cleanly came out with that ball. A little unexpected. Now AJ threatening. Can he dunk it through? He can't. FaZe once again battling back.
And you can't count FaZe out. FaZe, dare I say it, Corelli, used to playing from behind in this series. It's nothing new to them. And they got the win in game 1. Can they do it again?
They certainly can. They're only down by one
nice
this time.
pass.
AJ, can he get over it this time? He can. It's on target. Chicago with the save off the post. It was halfway in. FaZe just can't break through G2 as that one almost gets by First Killer. 50 seconds left. And First Killer looking for Typical. The shot on target's weak, and Atomic will clear it away.
And you're going to want to look at that one again on the replay. Another shot.
Whoa.
That one's tipped and goes out. FaZe now getting a demo. AJ to Typical, and that play's broken up by Atomic. FaZe punch after punch.
Whoa.
How much stamina does G2 have on defense?
Certainly being tested. 20 seconds left now. FaZe, they've been all over him here in the final 45 seconds or so. Now Typical. He's got to get downfield. He's beat to the ball. Chicago got there first. AJ there to clean up, and now Typical, he's popping it on, but it gives the ball away. I don't think anyone from FaZe could catch up. JNap's looking to clear this one out. Dangerous one across the G2 side. But Chicago there to push it downfield. JNap's just trying to get it down, but it's landed in the lap of First Killer. Still dangerous. Chicago, they just have to get it to the ground, and FaZe are fighting for every inch, but G2 finally come out on top.
Wow. That last play, that play from AJ, where he's going for the double tap, he got so close, but also I would love to see it on the replay again. And I'm certainly going to go back and look, but if he just left it, I think someone else could have just slammed that in. G2 was beat. They were beat. They were waiting for the shot. They were not meeting that ball. They were going to have to just go for the save instead of breaking up the shot.
And you can see where FaZe thrive, and you can see what FaZe does against the G2 defense. The G2 defense is quite strong, but FaZe, they can find little holes in the defense, and they've poked it through a few times. It's really that conversion rate that they need to pick up because they have the opportunities there. I just want to highlight for Chicago, between this series and the last series where they 4-0'd FaZe, he's shooting 40% through 6 games. That's insane.
40%. That is what FaZe needs. That's what they're missing because you pair the passing and opportunity setups from FaZe with Chicago, and maybe that's the new world-class super team if you could somehow merge them in. But I can't take any credit away from G2. They've been having those same type of setups. We've been seeing them going for the passing plays, and they're just making the stops, even defensively. Under the immense pressure from FaZe, getting the lightest taps, the touches, keeping FaZe out of the net. It has been a very strong defensive series, but Corelli, if FaZe, like you said, can just figure out that shooting percentage issue that they're having, if they can start being accurate with their shots and they have the same exact level of opportunities, they would be the favorite.
Oh, absolutely. And just to give you more context, the league average in North America is just under 22%. So he's shooting twice as high as other North American pros here in a grand final against an extremely strong FaZe clan. Insane.
And now in game 3, first minute, melting off the clock, we see G2 in FaZe's half. Atomic with the challenge. Sypical a pop-up. Sypical going downfield. We did see an unassisted solo play from Sypical last game. Atomic getting back in the way. JNap's pinching this to the FaZe corner. Gets the boost steal as well. First Killer dropped down to Sypical, just out of reach. There's a demo as well. Chicago out of boost, but stays on the play. And now it's back down. JNap's will back pass to keep possession.
Back and forth as we would expect. This one comes out to Sypical, low boost. And he's had a lot of those shots where he's just so close to the net that it's an easy block for G2. And that's where a lot of the shot tally kind of goes up for FaZe as Chicago wants to push it through off the back wall. Atomic got a little bit of boost here, but not enough to make a big play. First Killer had him red all the way.
Who dive from FaZe. Atomic camped out in front of net.
He's there.
Atomic will put it in. 2 defenders from FaZe go yet again, Corelli. The double commits have been brutal for FaZe.
One pad is all Atomic needed. He saw his chance to turn on that ball. I mean, not a lot of players would want to turn on the far post of a play on the opposition side with no boost. A lot of players would just want to get back, but Atomic, high game IQ to know that ball had the opportunity, or for him to have the opportunity to touch it and put it onto the net, even with no boost.
I wouldn't be surprised if Atomic has spent more time on FaZe's backboard than FaZe has spent being in the lead.
I wouldn't either, honestly, with the way this series has gone, especially with G2 in the lead, but Sypical quickly shuts me up and ties it up for FaZe.
And what a spike! And there's the passing play attempt. It's broken up, but a strong bounce off the sidewall sets up a chance for Sypical, and he nailed that shot.
And those are the shots that FaZe need, and they really need someone like Sypical to put them away like that. High power to one of the corners, away from the defenders, not let G2 get up. Atomic, by the way, just pre-jumped that one.
Oh, double demo.
Sypical read it, but now Sypical low boost, pokes it over JNap. Chicago on the goal line makes the save. Still FaZe trying to threaten, but it'll be cleared out by G2.
A heroic effort from Sypical, and Sypical beating out another defender, late flip. making things awkward. Rebound. It's an infield pass. It's just out of reach of first killer, but Typical taking over. Now off the ceiling, has AJ in front of net. The drop down pass. AJ puts it in, and FaZe Clan are on top.
The offense coming alive for FaZe. This is what we've been talking about. The setups have been just so good from FaZe. They're finally converting. The pass to the back post is perfect for AJ to put it home. FaZe finally into the lead.
And that might make the G2 team, the T2 fans, everyone watching at home hesitate for just a moment. FaZe, they got blown out in the first series, but this series seems to be different. AJ, the delay, but JNaps sniffed it out.
Again, some great work from FaZe, using the width of the field to their advantage in a lot of these passes. 2 go, though, for FaZe. First killer almost landed on top of it. Typical has to be careful as the third man here, and does buy time for his teammates to get back. And now Chicago, space to work with. Tries to get by first killer, won't happen. He'll take out AJ, though. But Typical back the other way. Can he dunk Atomic? He does get a piece of it, but it goes wide.
And Typical has been going for that quite a bit. Just getting back behind the ball, playing the 50. JNaps with a demo.
What a touch.
What's he going to do? Ball ends up getting away from him. Chicago staying behind the ball. AJ upfield. First killer waiting for his chance to jump in the play. Will hit it high off the backboard. The 50 will bounce off the ceiling. Chicago up to Atomic, but Atomic can't get that ball. Atomic. You saw him wanting to go for that double tap, but AJ right on the backboard waiting for it.
Yeah, FaZe did a good job to lock down the backboard. No boost here for AJ. Still trying to look as threatening as possible. Typical comes through. That one's going to sneak by. Where was the G2 defense?
This is a classic miscommunication. Even from this point on, you see JNaps leaving that ball thinking someone's going to go. Chicago thinking JNaps had it. JNaps thinking Chicago had it. And neither one of them did.
They had boost too. You're right. Miscommunication there. Neither of them really jumped at it. Neither of them even used boost towards the ball. They really thought each other had it. And FaZe, the benefactor here, up 2 goals, 45 seconds left, looking to take the lead in this series.
AJ hunting for an insurance goal. Ball hit upfield. Typical hard to the sidewall. Chicago back out to JNaps, but first killer first to it. Low boost pass. Hard hit off the backboard. Typical will demo Chicago. And now Typical, an air dribble out. Typical has been doing so well, keeping possession and taking that ball into G2's half, setting up his team on the attack. AJ, did he get his flip back? It looks like he did. Wasn't able to shoot it, but it didn't really matter. G2, the defensive miscommunication, but I think more the story is that FaZe Clan is finally starting to make their passing plays work.
Absolutely. You have to give the credit to FaZe here because the offense was what was really peaking. The difference between this particular game than really, I think, almost any of the other games was getting that third man involved and putting quality shots away from the defenders of G2, not letting G2 make miraculous saves, make it no doubt that that shot is going in, and some great plays coming out from Typical, AJ as well. And that's exactly where FaZe want to be. And if you can have a game like this with first killer only putting up 182 points, you're in a good spot if you're FaZe.
No doubt about it. And Typical is a player that if they're playing well, FaZe is incredibly scary. You saw the precision shooting. This is not something new. We've seen Typical do this before in his MVP season. He is such a dynamic player and a player who, when he can get airborne and have a lane on net, can make shots happen. And we saw that in that game. Typical, massive performance. And now FaZe Clan, not only have they been able to lead in games, now they lead in the series. G2 going to be battling back from behind.
And this is a great spot for FaZe. They only have to win one of these series. They're in the lead here. And maybe looking for more. Typical almost getting a second touch off the back wall. G2, though, eats it up. Atomic wants to pass across, and he ended up just having to beat the next man instead. As FaZe there to clean it up.
AJ getting back behind the ball. Atomic dodging the bump. will lob it down. First Killer with the catch, flicking by one. JNap's awkward, leaves space for First Killer, who wanted to go for the air bump. AJ, the fake. Low on boost, will leave it for Typical, who helps out. Chicago gonna get the redirect. It's gonna go off the ceiling, off the backboard, but it is read by the FaZe defense.
Yeah, well done from FaZe, staying disciplined and guarding that backboard, which have been criticized before, or which has been criticized before, I should say. As Typical now just got one to beat. Great touch to AJ. Tough shot, though. That one's going in off the touch of the last man from G2, and AJ's going to get credit.
You know, FaZe, they came close. AJ, he'll still get credit for it.
Oh,
it was
JNap
going to be posting out. First Killer was barreling in. JNap
was
had
going
to
in.
go for it. He had to go for it.
Yeah,
it would have required the perfect touch. And at that point, it still would have been probably post and back to the middle of the field.
Yeah, and First Killer would have put that one away. Can't blame him too much there as G2 find themselves down. FaZe once again into the lead here in this series, becoming more and more of a theme for them. Confidence building. Games being taken off of the Kings of North America currently. FaZe trying to take that crown.
Oh, that was a nice pass, a nice block by Atomic, but First Killer was hiding in net, waiting to make the save. Ground pinch pass to the middle.
Oh, man.
Chicago to Atomic on the outlet pass, a 1-2 play, but Typical stops it.
It's incredible, the counter that you just saw there, too. In 3 seconds, First has a pinch across the G2 line, and then Atomic shooting on FaZe's net. Crazy counter, and just options that are given over to G2 to make that happen.
Now the net was open, but First Killer wasn't able to put it on target. Low boost situation. And we've really seen Atomic be the shooter in those quick counterattack plays. And there's a miss from Atomic, but Atomic!
No way!
Squishy shit! He squishy saves it!
That is incredible from Atomic, but really just par for the course for him, as he's made so many of those saves going in and out. My goodness, G2 able to turn away a second one from FaZe, and this one, an awkward one for G2 to get a hold of. The shot on target. This time Atomic can't make the save. Typical doubles up.
Oh, there's the double commit. This time out of G2, throws him out of position, and it's the shooter, Typical, who puts that second goal in for FaZe. Now FaZe starting to find their rhythm. And, you know, I didn't know what to make of Achieves swapping his pick, but maybe he just knew.
he can be big-brained like that, for sure. He knew something that maybe the rest of us didn't. That's a great shot, though, off the post. Atomic trying to just paint the corners there. Now First Killer
bump
going all the way. Wanted the bump, and Atomic makes another goal line save. FaZe still difficult here to deal with on offense. Typical going to go all the way. Chicago somehow denies it as well. And G2 hanging on by a thread. FaZe making that defense look weak at the moment.
And First Killer, I mean, he was air dribbling that ball. Instead of going for the bump, it looked like he actually wanted to slow the ball down, change the speed to throw off the defense, and it almost beat G2. G2, they've been playing defense most of this game.
And we would be shocked to be saying that now after seeing the first series. But FaZe, again, you have to give them credit. They've really turned this series around, turned this grand finals around, and they have looked just the stronger team now here in this series and in this game in particular. Here, Chicago, as JNaps gets in the way on the bump. It was turned away in the end. The FaZe Clan defense trying to get a hold of this ball and get out as they do so, and G2 racing back now.
And it's in. It's just in from First Killer. Typical banging that out, and First Killer sailing it. G2 knew they had to score, committing a lot of resources on offense, leaving that back line open, and FaZe will be moving to match point if they can hold on for just 49 more seconds.
A dominant performance here, and this time, though, 3 goals on the 9 shots that they've taken, and maybe a 10th one coming. AJ, he might put it away, drops it down. Atomic still makes the save as G2 making the toughest saves in this game, yet still can't find the back of the net on the FaZe side.
You got to give Atomic some credit for these stops. But at the end of the day, Doesn't matter how many times you save it. If you can't manage to score, you'll never win. And G2 shut out. FaZe buttoning up that defense and finding their rhythm on offense. His first killer puts in the 4th for FaZe. Only 11 seconds left. This one is in the bag for FaZe Clan.
Boy, oh boy, FaZe looking dominant here in game 4. A 4-0 victory pending this 11 seconds. And for G2, surely going to need a second to think about this one, as the script has been flipped. It's changed. G2, they thought they were cruising to a win, but it's FaZe Clan right now that have put them on match point.
And Corelli, they'll get more than a second. They'll get at least a minute, as G2 will be calling a Nissan tactical timeout, most surely. But let's take a look at the stats first. First killer, 2 goals, but everyone involved. Typical AJ all scoring 3 assists from Typical.
Is that 18 touches from JNAPS? 18? That's got to be one of the lowest
that
I've seen.
can't be. Is that
right?
I have no idea.
18 touches on the ball from JNAPS there.
You don't see sub 20 very often.
No.
But it was FaZe Clan playing keep away.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think that was a great game from anyone on G2. I didn't mean to single out JNAPS there, but that's all credit to FaZe. I mean, just offensively, they looked the better team. Even defensively, I mean, FaZe, they're not really known for their defense, but for the most part, it was pretty good from them. They shut down a lot from what G2 had to offer. I mean, G2, again, still had 7 shots in that game, and FaZe were able to turn them away. So, again, I want to sing the FaZe praises here because it was not pretty in that first series, and they have turned things around here in this second series.
They certainly have, and the passing was beautiful. Just thinking back to that typical touch. He's on the sidewall. He touches it up to where he can now wrap up the ceiling and pass it right back down to AJ. And that play was so gorgeous. And we've seen some gorgeous passes from FaZe, but the shot was what was lacking. Not so much in this series. FaZe is making it work. They're finding those lanes, finding those shots. And this Nissan tactical timeout from G2, they're going to hope that they can figure some things out, make some adjustments, because the G2 that we saw in the first series looked unstoppable, Corelli.
Yeah. Again, I had mentioned it a couple times. I had just said the phrase, I mean, what can you do? What can you do with the way G2 was playing? And now I think I could say it the other way. I mean, with the way the shots have been coming through from FaZe, just looking at some of these replays, those setups are now paying off for FaZe. Another great pass. I mean, look at these passes off the back wall. Excellent from FaZe, leading each other onto the ball. Great strikes behind it as well. And that was not the same. They had a lot of weak shots coming out from FaZe. Shots that were straight at defenders, easy saves for G2. And so for FaZe Clan, a much better series so far as we come out of the timeout here. G2 backs against the wall, trying to sweep North America in this spring split. It comes down to this game to stay alive. FaZe trying to write the final chapter here for the regular season in North America.
On that could be a strong start. Typical infield to first killer. First killer couldn't take the shot. The passing still the idea. Atomic, though, will have a free backboard, but hits it wide.
Good looks from both sides, really, here. As JNAPS, he did his work, and he'll come out. These great rotations come out from G2. First killer almost pre-jumped that clear, but JNAPS will beat 2 to the ball. As now AJ dangerous from this position. First killer wanted the bump, but it didn't come through.
That is fearlessness from FaZe. AJ air dribbling it, and first killer deciding, oh, I'll just go for the bump. If that fails, you leave your teammate in a numbers disadvantage situation. That last player back. But FaZe has been so aggressive. It's been working out for him. And there's the shot, and that was open. Oh, the rebound doesn't find the net either. And FaZe, this is kind of like what we saw before. FaZe having looks. G2 escaping barely with their life and then scoring on the counter.
The outside of the net, escaping FaZe. And quickly on the counter, as you mentioned, James, Chicago there to get the dunk. And G2, the defense paying off there. And you know they're quick to counter in that fashion. And a 1-0 lead now for G2.
Shot is on target, but that's saved by Chicago. Another infield pass. Block attempt. AJ got 2 demos, but even that's not enough to break down the G2 defense. Nice first touch from AJ. Going for the air dribble block on the goal line, and it's cleared out. AJ having options there. Fortunately, or unfortunately for FaZe, it didn't work out for him. And JNaps, a risky touch off the elbow and out.
Not what he wanted, but it paid off. It did get him out. And now G2 hunting Atomic. Great touch here as he tries to get back down, and a little bouncer to delay the counter and possession from FaZe as everyone gets back. A monster flip reset from First Killer, but Atomic comes and saves the day as he doesn't connect on the clear. But G2 are able to get out.
AJ couldn't get the infield pass. First Killer was waiting. And now JNaps beating First Killer to the ball. AJ over his shoulder, weak hit, gives up possession. Atomic shoots, it's high, and Sipical will hit it off to the side, but gets demoed. Space now for G2. JNaps looking for the backboard. Atomic, first touch, getting behind it, late flick, pass to JNaps, and that shot will go wide. But JNaps, he's hustling, and the shot comes out from Chicago. The play was kept alive by that hustle from JNaps.
And look at this ball pop out. Look how much time and space G2 have to run on top of this one. Chicago came for the midfield line behind it and just kind of like moseyed on up to it with no one to challenge. He'll take a quality shot, 2 for 2 once again. Here for G2 is Chicago. An easy shot for him every time. And FaZe just allowing that to happen. Now Atomic sacrifices or kills First Killer, takes him out of the game, and prevents the shot from going through.
How close was that? All I saw was smoke, but it looked like First Killer might have been in a position to take that shot. Atomic perhaps saving it at the last moment, but ultimately it doesn't matter. First Killer comes back into the game and gets the goal.
And we've been talking about FaZe and their shooting, and it has gone up between these two series as First Killer knocks that one down. Series 1, FaZe were shooting 18%. Here in Series 2, 25%. That's a 40% increase for FaZe here against G2 between the two series.
And it has been a tale of two series for FaZe. If anyone's just joining us now, FaZe they were swept in the first series. It didn't look competitive at all, really, with how well G2 was playing. But Series 2 has been a different game, except
that one's open.
For this one, Game 5, all in favor of G2, a wide open net. And it's the same thing that we've been seeing a lot in this series. Atomic gets the outlet pass, shoots long range, and finds its way.
Yeah, I was going to say, guess who on the outlet pass? It's always Atomic. He's the first man out of the play defensively, and a lot of times will leave G2 in a 2v3 situation, trusting his teammates to win the challenge and push it to him downfield. And it's paid off so much for G2, not even just in this series or the previous one, but in all of their series that they've played here in North America. That outlet pass has paid off. Now Chicago with the bump. JNaps comes through with the shot, and it's a 4-1 scoreline for G2.
That was a savage bump. AJ was helpless. AJ thinks, I'll just tip this off to the side. Chicago had other plans. G2 crushing FaZe Clan in this one late, but maybe FaZe can get something going. First Killer, flip reset, going for the dunk. And we've seen some back and forth. FaZe at times this series blowing out G2. Now G2 having a stellar game.
And the right time for G2 to start playing well. FaZe, we're looking to run away with this series in dominant fashion. But as you said, I do think G2's really turned it around here. And again, I think the pace of play slowed down just a little bit into that very comfortable zone for G2, where they're able to just kind of pick apart FaZe. You've seen that a couple times on the offensive front. It's AJ just narrowly avoiding the JNaps demo. A lot of trust here from Atomic to push this one away. Typical will cut it off, and FaZe pushing in the final 20 seconds. Down by 3, maybe down by 4. Atomic wants to take the challenge, and AJ will deny.
Chicago, maybe one for the road. No. FaZe have 3 defenders there at the near post to make sure that that doesn't go in. First killer trying to keep the ball alive, but it won't matter. G2 ultimately end up taking game 5, and now we're going into game 6. Corelli, we've seen FaZe on fire. We've seen them cool off. What FaZe will we see in game 6?
I wish I could tell you exactly, James, but that was above my pay grade. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to see from FaZe, because we've seen kind of 2 sides from them, even in the series, even game to game. I would like to say that we see the FaZe that we saw in the previous games, where they were attacking the net, where the shots were away from defenders. The passes were connecting perfectly. That was the FaZe that was winning this series, and that's the FaZe that they've got to go back to. And right now, I think for G2, G2 just hasn't let them do that. G2, again, have controlled the game in the way that they want, and that's very tough for FaZe to break out of.
It certainly is. And you got Chicago as well being a bully. That bump on AJ coming off the backboard. We haven't seen a ton of physical plays from G2. We've seen a lot of demos from FaZe Clan, or at least ones that come to recent memory. But that bump, will we see more of that physical gameplay from G2? Will we see more counterattacks? Will FaZe Clan be able to put together some of these passing plays like we've seen them do before? FaZe a chance to win it all here and now on Neo Tokyo.
Uh-oh. Oh, yep. I can feel that one coming, James. Yeah, I said uh-oh for a reason.
Oh, JNaps, the double tap. It's just so pretty. It's just so pretty. The way he gracefully flies through the air. A masterful shot. JNaps, that was gorgeous.
I mean, that's one of those, you see a setup like that, really for almost any pro player, but for a player like JNaps in particular, it's what in the world is that pass from JNaps to Chicago? Trying to sing his praises for the shot, but look at the pass now. Perfectly on the Chicago head, and then flicks it on.
92 miles an hour on that skip shot from Chicago. A crazy fast shot. But like you said, a nice pass as well.
And here comes another one. Chicago plays that one across. AJ let it bounce. Trusted that G2 didn't want to commit too hard on that one as the counterattack's on. As nobody connecting here from G2. They are able to recover as FaZe weren't there to make them pay.
It's like synchronized swimmers there for a moment, but both missing the ball. G2, despite that double commit and the miss, FaZe wasn't in position to punish. First killer will go for the backboard and
got it.
Cole will dunk it down and in the net. Typical has been scoring a lot this series, and it's good for FaZe that he's getting involved now.
Tough read there from Typical. Used all of his boost. As soon as he got to that ball, he was out of boost. It had to be perfect, and a great shot from him in follow-up. FaZe on the board, able to cut the lead in half. Here just past the first minute.
And that was a tough read indeed, like you pointed out, Corelli. When you're coming across the ball like that, it's bouncing hard off the backboard. That is not a gimme. Well played by Typical. First killer.
Again. I mean, with G2, especially in this game, the shots they've been able to put away. This one's dangerous. Typical's late. No one there from G2 to punish.
Infield pass attempt, but now the passing from G2. Atomic will take this shot. Who's taking the shot? That's what's running through FaZe's head. JNaps to Chicago. You see him hitting it right back towards JNaps.
And I was watching that one from the FaZe defender's POV, and everyone was fooled because no one knew if it was going to be JNaps again, because it was this weird tweener ball between him and Atomic. And then Atomic come barreling through. Everyone shifted to the left, and Atomic put it to their right. Perfectly slotted, perfectly placed. G2 back up by 2.
And to make matters worse, you got JNaps barreling in for a bump and a demo on you. And that certainly complicates the defensive situation for FaZe, who find themselves trailing by 2, but plenty of game left. A quick shot from First Killer. That's denied. First Killer's second effort after the boost steal gets the other corner boost as well. perhaps a short-term boost advantage, but JNAPS,
Atomic got full boost.
all the rebound in front of net. Atomic coming off the backboard as well has been a pain, but now the block from First Killer, the demo as well, but Typical gets taken out.
Great payback there from Atomic. Chicago was removed, and so Atomic will make sure that FaZe are also down a player.
Tit for tat.
And it certainly worked out there. Slowed down FaZe tremendously. Just past halftime. FaZe, plenty of time left on the clock to make something happen here. First Killer making everyone dance, and it's a great pass again, and Typical strikes the shooting through the roof for him now as FaZe are clicking.
Oh, you love the creativity from First Killer, faking the flick, getting control of the ball, passing it over, and Typical has been the precision shooter for FaZe and comes through there, but that pass was something else.
Wow. And they're going to need more of that. Again, plenty of time. 2 minutes left on the clock, just over. They create so many chances, this FaZe team does. And here comes one to Typical. Having a breakthrough moment here for FaZe in this series when they need him most. Dangerous ball as AJ's trying to get the block. Not going to happen. Great flick on from G2. Chicago uncontested, places it to the left side. G2 up by 2 once again.
And these little skip touches from G2 at the midfield have been brutal for FaZe to deal with. First Killer on empty. All he could do is try that squishy save and hope that he guesses the right spot. But that little touch from JNAPS put everything in a tough spot for FaZe, and an open net, but First Killer pushes it wide. FaZe having a tough ending to Game 6.
Need something to drop if you're FaZe. A Game 7 would be scary with the way G2 has turned it up in the back half of the series.
Air dribble play. AJ will have it pinch wide. Atomic with the demo. Typical gets one on JNAPS. Is the net open? AJ spawning. It is in time, but Atomic gets the read. Chicago couldn't get the rebound. The net was wide open. A chance for one more. Chicago not able to do it. We'll see if that's enough of an opening for FaZe to get back in this one.
A minute to play. FaZe need one now. Typical doesn't get the touch. First Killer. Everyone went from FaZe and also from G2 as well. Everyone panicking. A pass down to AJ. Cuts the cross. The shot's wide. Typical with no boost. Pass back to AJ. Over to First Killer, but that one's wide as well. It's not going to drop for FaZe. It was perfectly set up, and then they're scored on the counter by G2.
And First Killer, after that ball goes in, he just dropped his controller. No inputs, no nothing. First Killer had the shot. That passing setup from FaZe, it was perfect. Another great setup. It was a perfect setup.
2 of them were perfect. They had 2 great looks, and now they're going to get one back. AJ with 36 seconds left. Down by 2 for FaZe, finally getting one to drop.
But
a great pass from Typical.
Is it too little too late, though, Corelli?
I think there's just barely enough time, James. If they can get a quick one here, there's just barely enough time. It's not going to be easy.
A nice kickoff, and it does find its way over to First Killer, who got the mid boost. Gets his feet back under him, heads towards net. Atomic, all he could do to keep it out. AJ with the block, Typical in a foot race. But he gets denied. And now JNAPS will take the shot. Time melting off the clock. And if First Killer hits that shot that we saw moments ago, the G2 counterattack never happens. Maybe FaZe ends up getting back into Game 6.
Yep.
But that play there, again, it was the shooting. It has improved for FaZe, but they needed that one there.
Game 7 will go, James. And the records between these two teams in Game 7, 5-3, a 62% win percentage for FaZe, 4-6 for G2, 40% in Game 7s. And that's not really to say that those will apply here, but that's just history at the moment. G2 certainly looking better than FaZe at the moment.
I mean, you just look at G2's record for the times they've won these regional events in the Spring Split, and it's something around 100%.
Something like that. I think you got that one right. And for good reason. You see the play that they've put out. and the resolve that this team has had, even the previous series when we saw them play earlier against Space Station. Space Station, they had better looks at times from G2 in those games, but G2 just went to a different level. And that's, I think, what's kind of happening here as well. G2, they cranked it up a notch here in the second series, where I think FaZe were kind of blowing them out for a little while. They had the biggest margin of victory so far between the two series in just a couple games ago. But G2 somehow are able to just regroup and come back into these games.
They really are. And it's that midfield play, those midfield touches that are really catching FaZe out. You saw the one touch from JNaps, the skip shot from Chicago. Those plays at the midfield are helping get G2 over that hump. But FaZe are still opening up the field with the passes. It's just that the shooting percentage woes rearing its ugly head once more for FaZe. And we'll see if it's a different story here in Game 7. Corelli, we're going to be going to Champions Field. This is what every Rocket League fan hopes for when you watch these grand finals, is that it goes the distance between teams that are playing the best that we've seen them play all tournament long. And here we have it. Game 7 presented by Nissan. Will FaZe Clan start the regionals with a win and end it with a win, or will G2 be able to sweep the Spring Split? We find out now.
The Nissan Classic definitely shaping up to be a classic here between G2 and FaZe. It's been back and forth. FaZe has gotten the better of G2 earlier on the bracket. G2's come roaring back. And now a final game. Can G2 sweep North America? Can they win 3 regionals in a row? Or do FaZe finally get their second of the season?
JNaps, first touch. It pops up for Chicago. Infield pass to Atomic. Atomic off the ceiling. AJ, first touch, catches it into an air dribble. JNaps kicking it in reverse, and it does find its way over to Chicago with full boost. Chicago with the mid boost as well. The block, the dunk, it rolls the distance.
Wow.
Typical cutting off the play, and that was an unexpected first goal of Game 7.
Boy, he just went straight into that challenge. Could not have hit that ball any more square against Chicago. And the help was Chicago being on the right side of the ball. That put it towards the net of G2. And a 1-0 lead here in the first minute for FaZe, and a welcomed one.
Chicago gets that ball up to JNaps, but gets beat to the ball there. Atomic with plenty of time to think about this touch, and it gets away. And
what a pass.
First killer denied by JNaps. Rebound is
there
good.
It is.
FaZe's passing proves to be too much, but AJ, a critical rebound cleanup.
And that was just a great save from JNaps initially, but the follow-up was there for FaZe. And a dangerous shot put on by AJ is exactly what they needed. If the first shot doesn't go through, fine. But when FaZe starts stacking them up, you've got to break through. And it was crucial for AJ to put that one away.
AJ. That goal, massive. FaZe now find themselves ahead by 2. JNaps tries to cut the lead down to 1, and he does so. G2 back in it.
Great finesse here from JNaps. First killer, he was just so late going for it, and he didn't have a ton of boost, but just didn't react in time, and great placement there from JNaps. Down on the way, kept it near post. You
saw Atomic was right there, and you might have been thinking Atomic may get a touch there. I think that also slowed him down on top of the boost troubles. JNaps. High pop. First killer. Over to Sipical. Sipical crossing it across the field. Sipical again. Seen him take it the full field unassisted before. Trying to march it downfield yet again. JNaps up to Atomic. Atomic towards net. First killer streaking back and will get the save.
What a shot from Atomic. That's one that will catch out a defense every once in a while. First killer. Too good to let that one in. As a clear comes out from FaZe, Atomic trying to keep it awkward. Chicago called upon. Blinded by the demo. AJ can't get a read, and Atomic to put it home.
Throw the smoke grenade right there. Atomic. He throws at AJ. He can't see anything. And then the ball flies through the smoke into the back of the net. G2 tying it up in fashion.
The lead is gone. FaZe with the quick start here in Game 7. G2 not gonna let it be easy for FaZe. And G2 looking for a third here. A follow-up from JNAP's back post shot. His first killer takes it off the backboard.
Typical sees first killer in the corner, but Chicago not gonna let the ball get there. Other touch throwing off AJ. JNAP's an Atomic. The air dribble pass. And the shot doesn't come out. Wave dash by G2 will allow for the corner boost steal.
Oh my.
Awkward ball though.
What is happening?
Confusion on both teams, it looked like.
I'm just as confused. Everyone in this lobby is confused what was going on there. Nobody getting the read. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day. G2 still holding on the pressure. As FaZe, they've really only been able to have these lobbed balls, but this is a bit of a blunder there from Atomic to let that one out. And now Typical trying to make the difference, trying to go all the way, and it's Chicago to turn him down.
And I think Chicago got bumped back into that ball after the air dribble attempt and still ended up hitting that out. Crazy series there of events. First killer flip reset, pass off the backboard, the boom, down to JNAPS. JNAPS off the bounce on the ground, takes the shot. AJ manages it well. No boost anywhere seemingly for G2, but JNAPS still punting it downfield. And there's a bump, backboard pass, typical, tough read, weak hit, will land with possession.
Tense here for FaZe. Opportunities. And this time G2 slow to attack. First killer gets typical go.
Commit.
AJ gonna go as well. He picked up full boost and a good challenge there will at least delay G2 from getting out. Now typical space, flicks over one. Chicago to turn it away. His second save of this game. 40 seconds left and FaZe trying to lock down the midfield. First killer off the back wall. It's too hard. Typical's there on the shot. Chicago not the best clear as G2 very slowly want to take this one out.
Atomic popping it high. First killer to Chicago now. First killer trying to skip that upfield. JNAPS against AJ. AJ to the side. Atomic down to the ground. Pass first killer to pinch that goes downfield. AJ will punt it right back up. It's right to JNAPS off the ceiling. Double. JNAPS with the 50.
Whoa.
Ball loose in front of net. Atomic. Self pass off the corner will pop it high, and AJ will be first to it. Typical, the shot, that one's no good, and we're going to overtime.
Typical almost placed that one in 0-second time, but a Game 7 overtime. It has to be this way, James.
And I wouldn't have it any other way, Corelli. Atomic getting to the ball quickly and wins that challenge. JNAP's up fast. There's a missed challenge. First killer didn't want Atomic to have a touch on the ball, but Atomic collects anyway. Infield pass, broken up by first killer. Typical, high hit. Chicago hits it to safety. JNAP's controlling it in the air. Out of boost now. First killer picking up the corner. Pinch from JNAP's will send it to the opposite FaZe corner. Chicago off the backboard. Atomic does get the mid boost. Had to camp out for a while. First killer, awkward ball.
Whoa,
Rebound to Atomic. Atomic sends it wide. And AJ able to clear this out.
I'm curious if Atomic really wanted the pass there. He just went too far, but AJ flip reset, didn't get it. FaZe threatening. The good clear comes out from G2. AJ, his opportunity is cut out by Atomic, but AJ looking for two. AJ's got it. FaZe coming out on top in Game 7.
FaZe bring it back full circle. They won the first regional of the year, and they've won the last regional as well. Here at the Nissan Classic, it's proved to be an instant classic, as you said, Corelli, and that shot from AJ, beautiful.